Greetings, everybody. This is Erin Taylor Young doing the 52-week memory verse challenge. I hope you can join me. Come on in if you'd like to. If you're watching later on YouTube, this started as Periscopes, and so I might be talking to people that you can't see. You can also catch this on catch.me/ErinTYoung. So we're doing the 52-week memory verse challenge. You can find the 52-week memory verse challenge list of verses at my website, erintayloryoung.com. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a podcaster, I do a lot of things. Oh, hello, nice to see you. I do a lot of things. You can catch the podcast at Right From the Deep. That's you can go to rightfromthedeep.com, or you can go to iTunes or Stitcher and get it there. So that's enough for the preliminary. Erin Taylor Young here doing 52-week memory verse challenge. Let me flip around. You can see the verse that we're going to do today. Actually, let's just read it. While we live to please the Lord, and when we die, we go to be with the Lord. So in life and in death, we belong to the Lord. This particular verse... So this particular verse I like in the New Living Translation, actually, because it really gets, again, at sort of the heart of it. Let's talk about, though, for a minute where this verse is, because I don't want to be pulling things out of context. Right in this is like following up what Paul is talking about to the Romans when he's saying there's these little arguments, okay? There's this these people that think, oh, we can't eat food sacrificed to idols, and then other people are like, no, God declared all that clean, and then what day of the week should we be celebrating, and what day of the week should we be doing Sabbath, and all of these little things, because we've got Jews and Gentiles coming together now, and they have different backgrounds that they're coming from, and Paul is coming in saying, look, each one of you guys needs to be convinced in your own mind what God is telling you to do and what God has told you is okay, and there might be differences among you, and that's okay. So just deal and cope, because what he's saying is you all belong to the Lord. Don't be judging other people's servants, just worry about you. And if we're trying to judge somebody else who's a Christian, they're God's servant, so we don't really have any business to be doing that kind of comparisons or infighting or anything like that. So he's trying to back everybody out and just say, hey, be convinced in your own mind what you think is right, because here's the main point, exactly what this verse is saying. While we live to please the Lord, and when we die, we go to be with the Lord. So in life and in death, we belong to the Lord. That's the whole point. So that's that part of it. But let's move a little bit beyond that. I want you guys to see again, when we die, we go to be with the Lord. In life and in death, we belong to the Lord. I want you to know, again, we've been talking about this. Life and death cannot separate us from God's love, from our relationship with God. That cannot separate us. So I think that's very cool. All right, so we've been talking in March, this whole month of March, about something to change your paradigm. And here's what I want to challenge you guys with, to change your paradigm. Remember, a paradigm is how you think, your framework for viewing the world. And if we're bringing scripture in and just like reading it and moving on, we're not changing our paradigm. We're not challenging ourselves to go deeper into what God has for us. So that's why I want us to focus on changing our paradigm. And let me flip this around real quick. So here's the thing. While we live to please the Lord. And when we die, we go to be with the Lord. But let's just start with, while we live to please the Lord. This is, I think, the paradigm shift that we all need to be working on, because we live in an I culture. I am coming to you guys on a Periscope with my iPhone. And the computer might be an iMac. And it's I. We're very, very individualized. It's all about my hopes, my plans, my dreams for the day. This is where we can stop and focus on God and say, what are your plans? How can I please you? I think sometimes we even have our family situation. Okay, I think sometimes we even have, like, our family. We had kids, right? And when our kids were young, we were driving them all over the place. Everything was very kid-centered, which is weird, because when I grew up, it wasn't very kid-centered. My mom was like, yeah, ride your bike to your baseball practice or whatever, do that, So I think that we've sort of turned into more of a kid-focused culture, and then we're making I-focused kids because they've had parents dote on them. I've done that to my own kids. I've doted on them. I think that we need to go back and say, while we live to please the Lord. So, yes, serving our family does please God, but not to the point where we're putting them before God. It is God first. So my challenge to you guys today, to your paradigm today, is to ask yourself, when you get up in the morning, when you do what you do each day, am I doing this to please the Lord? Am I working to please God? Or am I thinking about myself and what I want to do and what's pleasing to me? Jesus himself is like, those who are open to my teaching, more understanding will be given. So be open to this. And those who give up their life for God will find their life. If you try to keep your life for yourself, you will lose it. So let's work today on doing what we can, focusing. Does that television program you might be tempted to watch, is that pleasing to God? Is that whatever thing you want to do today, is that going to please God? I think that he will bless that. The Bible also says to delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. So I'm not telling you that you're going to live a rotten, boring life. I'm telling you that the focus and the delight is on God first. And after that, everything flows. Our love for God flows. Our desires, our joys become his. And it's a much better life. So let's work on that this week, and we'll hopefully be coming back at you Thursday, Friday, Wednesday, something like that, and we'll talk a little bit more about this. All right. While we live to please the Lord, and when we die, we go to be with the Lord. So in life and in death, we belong to the Lord. Romans 14:8. Take care, everybody.